Hello, dear viewers of Hope Channel Uganda. We are so much excited about today's episode, and we're very happy and we're very much pleased that God is really doing His wonders. We want to first appreciate you for what you do. We want to first appreciate you for watching Hope Channel Uganda, for subscribing on our different channels. We want to thank you so very much. Wherever you're watching us from, be it in offices, be it in your workplaces, be it in the marketplaces, we want to thank you so very much. And our prayer is for God to bless you 10 more folds in whatever you do, to bless your businesses. So today we are very much excited about the discussion that we're going to be having, and that today's discussion is about women empowerment and girl child in financial growth. And today we have an amazing lady who is going to be giving us some of the insight that we should really put into consideration, and we want to appreciate her and thank her for her precious time. Most cases, people, you reach out to people and people be like, I'm busy, I can't do that, I can do that. So when you find someone who is really willing to share knowledge, then it's also a blessing. So I want to thank her for her precious time, and allow me to allow her to introduce herself to you. Back to you, my dear.
Our dear viewers for today's channel, my name is Jalia Naziwa. I'm a lecturer at Makerere University Business School in the Department of Marketing and Media Studies. Besides that, I'm a chef, a wellness person, so anything to do with food. Yes, that is I'm a certified chef.
Okay.
Yes, so I'm also very passionate about women empowerment. I love to see girls thrive and grow. Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much for honoring our request.
You're welcome.
Okay, thank you. Why do you think saving is a pillar, and why is it so important for women to save?
Saving is very important. That's something I cannot rule out. As we work, we are not supposed to only look at paying bills and being happy. It's important to save. One, for the future, for a better future. If you want to be somewhere, for example, you start out, for people who work, you start out, of course you won't start big, you start small, yes? We all have goals, but how do we achieve our future goals? One of the ways it is through saving. You want to own a home, you could look at saving. How much money am I going to take off my monthly salary in order to save? Number two, my fellow women, we need to look at the aspect of emergency fund. We need to be able to cater for the uncertainties and the unforeseen challenges. Life is very uncertain. You don't know what happens. You're at work and you'll be called the child is sick. But probably you only had money for that day to take you through that day. You only had transport, food for that day and nothing else. So how do you go about being, or how do you address the issue of your child being sick? Yeah? I've seen most people unleash out the anger to men. You're very useless. How do I call you? And the child has no money. But as a woman, yes, you should be risk averse. You should have like a money emergency fund. So here I'm talking out to women who have families. It is your role to make sure that the savings are there. You need to sit down with your man and, both of you agree, this is for the emergency fund. And when you put aside that money for the emergency fund, it must serve its purpose. Not every issue is urgent or amount to an emergency. So before you put that money aside, you need to know what our emergencies like. Yes? Someone can get into, God forbid, an accident. Where are you going to start from when you do not even have health insurance? So probably your emergency fund bails you out. The other thing why people need to start up or create an emergency fund. Today, job security is something, especially if you are working on contract or your part-time staff, your job is uncertain. The next minute you don't have it.
Yeah, true.
We saw this when I think with our UN colleagues who were laid off for 3 months, but we still do not know what is going to happen. So how are they going about life? So this is why we need to have an emergency fund. The least amount of money you should have in an emergency fund should be for 3 months, but the desirable months should be 6 months. At least within 6 months, you're able to get your foot back on what you can do. You're able to, go through the process in case something has happened. You're able to plan out another way out. In case maybe the job, you cannot get another job, or within 6 months, you can think of getting into business. But this is only possible when you have an emergency fund. I will really emphasize this issue. It does not matter where you are, whether you've just started working or if you've been working for the last 20 years. It's important to have an emergency fund. And get me right, an emergency fund is different from a unit trust fund. It's different from an insurance policy. But just make sure you do have one.
Okay, thank you very much. So very many women struggle with the inconsistency saving. What are some of the strategies these women could use that earn on a low income, and I would love also to save?
Okay, first and foremost, inconsistency is part of us. I think for any person that wants to be better, it could not even only be the financial aspect. One of the key things you need to build your discipline on is consistency. One by one makes a bundle. Yeah? So here, what am I trying to say? You need to be very intentional. I usually see this hula baloo when the year is starting. Oh, people have very big dreams.
Oh, yeah.
I want to save 20 millions.
At least.
But is it realistic? You need to ask yourself, is it realistic for
but
me?
people do save 20 million, even a month, they can't do that.
Yes. Yeah, that is very possible, but are you in position to save that money? For example, if you're earning 300, that could be a little bit unrealistic. So you need to have a realistic goal, because once you set unrealistic goals, you are bound to fail. You're going to fail on them. You're going to get frustrated. You're going to it's going to become very complex for you. So set something within your means. If you're a salary earner, set something within your range as you figure out other sources. Number 2, people need to be very intentional. Intentionality. Yes, I'm sure we all have that. We all want to save. We all want to become financially disciplined. But you have to get out of your comfort zone and be intentional. If it means cutting expenses, please cut those expenses. Yes, downsize to things you can afford. Because when you're within your financial means or things you can afford, it's easier for you to save. For example, if you're in a house that is expensive, but you know that you don't need this house, you could look at getting to a one-room house since you're a single person as you save. Because if let's say you're in a house of 600, probably if you come down to a house of 400, you're able to save that 200. So one strategy would be cutting your expenses or keeping your expenses as low as possible. Number 2, living within your means. My dear, my fellow ladies, let's learn how to live within our means. We all want to look good. We all want to dress in the most, but make sure it's within your means. Once something within your means, meaning it becomes part of you and it's easier for you to save money. Yes, you could look up at starting up an insurance policy. I like insurance companies. They are not very rigged. They have, packages for everyone. I remember when I was starting out, is it 1 year back? In 2022? Yeah, in 2022. They had a package for me and the salary I was earning then. Yes, I will say out my first salary with my first job, I think it was 800. And they had a package for me. And I sat down with a lady and she took me through. She told me, you know what, if you take off this month, this is how much you'll be able to save. You'll be able to save this much. If you don't want to go in for an insurance policy and you feel this still does not favor me, you could look out for a circle. Today we have very many circles. First, analyze the credibility of that circle. Is it registered? Is it known? Because I do not want you to be part of a circle that is going to take your money and maybe the people disappear. First, establish the credibility of that circle. How long has it been in operation? What are their systems? What are their policies? Circles are usually friendly and more convenient. You know, you just have to send maybe 20K at the end of the week from the to the treasurer. So we could look at saving with circles. I do not want women to think, I used to have a mentality with my first job, as I said, my first income. I used to have a mentality that saving is for people who are earning above $1 million. Whether you're earning 300, 500, 200, that is still money.
Even 10,000, pay that you can say, yes, I'm going to be saving 1,000 per day.
Thank you. There is a quote that says, take care of the peanuts, the pounds will take care of themselves. So let's go by that aspect. Take care of the little money you have. When you accumulate it to the more money will take care of itself. But if you fail to take care of the little money you have today, then you'll not get anywhere.
Okay, thank you very much. So what are the best saving options women can explore in Uganda?
One, I think I've already talked I have talked about one of them, that can be circles. You can also look at joint savings, especially for those in families. Yeah, joint savings. For example, if you're going to acquire certain things like land and all that, you could look at having a joint account with your partner.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a saving option. If let's say you have, as I talked about the job security today in Uganda, you could look at having up also insurance policies. I mean, we have education, that's also saving for your children's future education, because you do not know whether you'll be in position or not. But if you have saved, at least it gives you the certainty that I will still be in position to take care of or educate my kids, whatever the circumstances come my way. Yes, you could also look at the automated savings, whereby you go to the bank, give them a standing order and say, at the end of this month, at the end maybe this day, whenever your company or business pays you, and say on this day, this amount of money should go off my account. I know building, by the way, a culture of financial discipline is quite hard, very hard. Yes, I for one have struggled with one. I've struggled building it. But as I'm here, I am getting there each day per day. So make sure at least you have, if you're not that disciplined that you'll take off the money and take it to the savings go to the bank and tell them, you know what, standing order. This much should go off my account to this much. Still, if you don't have the discipline of making sure, you can be tempted anytime, then ask that account, that particular account, where that money is going should be fixed. For how long? You could say maybe for 2 years or for 5, depending on when you want that money to accumulate.
Yeah, very true.
Yes.
So how can women set realistic financial goals and stay disciplined?
One, I think you need to find a financial mentor. And today we have quite a number of them. Find a financial mentor. Find someone who is going to work with you this journey. If you cannot find a mentor, find an accountability partner. A person who will hold you accountable. Yes? Yes, Joanne, I haven't received your money. I haven't seen, you did not make the deposit of these savings. Why? Get an accountability partner. Get someone to work with you this journey until you're able to stand on your own, until you are firm enough. Yes, call and say, you know what, this month I may not, because we are all human, we fail at a certain point. That is why I'm emphasizing the issue of accountability partners. But make sure your partner, your accountability partner, is better than you. Don't get someone whereby you all have the same, you're all financially indisciplined. You're all impulsive buyers. You're going to mislead each other. Get someone who is better than you, who will call you out and say, no, I think you have exploited your expenditure account, and look for other ways to survive. Do not touch the savings. Number 2, stick to the circles. You see, I usually see women, I know what bonds most women is gossip, but I would be happy as a person who is passionate about women empowerment if we are being bonded by developmental things. You know, if you have a group at work, other than discussing someone, discuss your financial issues. How are we getting out of our poverty? Yeah? Can we come up with a group? Can we come up with a saving group?
Oh, yeah.
And maybe after the end, we can look at buying a plot of land and we invest together. Please join constructive groups. If you're a girl and you're above 25, you have no point. And even if you're younger than that, you have no point in sitting in groups that are not adding any value to you financially. Yes? If people are not advising you to go buy bonds, treasury bills, if people are not advising you on how to take an insurance policy, you have no business with them. Yeah? You know, there is a quote also that says, two birds of the same feather flock together. So you eventually become what the company you keep in.
Very true.
So if you want to go financially, start interacting with people that are there, people that are saving, people that are committed to investing. You know, it is very sad that time is not actually, is never on our side, especially as women. The moment you clock 25, you should be very cautious of your financial disciplines and what we do with your money. Within no time, you're 40, but you're nowhere, and all you have are wigs. All you have are the spoiled phones of the iPhones you bought, you know? So what am I trying to say? We need to delay our luxuries. Only go in for a luxurious life when you can afford
and maintain it.
In other words, let us be economical. Let us be economical. Live within your means. Always look out for the cheapest way of getting something. Yeah, it's not about the brand, it's not about showing off, oh, I do my nails at this place, I do my hair at this place. What matters is looking good. We don't want to know the brand. And after years, will those things still matter? What will matter? How much do you have, and are you financially stable? We are having this talk because at the end of the day, after a number of good years, should be financially stable. So this is why we are sharing all this with you.
Thank you very much. So
welcome.
what practical steps can mothers take to teach their daughters about saving money from an early age?
Oh, well, I will borrow this from the Jewish culture. Yes, I think those people really have a good saving culture, whereby when a child is still young, they give them 4 boxes. 1 for savings, 1 for expenses, 1 for charity.
Charity?
Yes. So we have savings, we have charity, yeah,
Expenses?
expenses, and then investment from a young age. Yes. So when a child is gifted money, the money is apportioned according to what? Percentages. So savings, they drop, everywhere they drop. So how I wish we as, to the current mothers and those in the journey to become mothers, we should become more intentional about teaching not only our daughters but also our sons. Yes, I think kids in general about financial discipline. Teach them when this savings box gets full, take the child to the bank, have a bank account for them. Yes, in their names. Take them along. Let them start interacting with money when they are young. Once you've banked with a child, show them how much they have. And let them also start taking what? Let them start being disciplined and accountable at a very young age. If they, for example, they want to share with friends, let them go to their charity box. In case maybe they want to maybe buy something for themselves, it could be a bicycle or a toy or anything, ask them, how much do you have in your investment? Okay, when you get to this much, I'll only top up for you 30%. I think with that, if we have that, we shall be able to nurture a financially disciplined generation. Besides that, I have seen the thing of living within your means. This is an aspect that should be taught from childhood. But what are mothers doing today? You walk into a supermarket and whatever the child touches, the mother wants to buy because the baby wants this. Yes, I understand it's important to spoil your child, but no,